Finneas O'Connell, everybody. Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great. This is such a treat to be here. I've really loved listening to all these performances all night, so I feel very honored to be included.
It's been a wonderful evening, and thank you to you and all of the fellow performers. You've had a busy night. I saw a picture of you at a movie premiere a minute ago.
Billy's 3D concert film that she did with James Cameron came out tonight also. So I went to the red carpet for that, and then they all went in to see that. And then I've come here to watch the show, which has been awesome.
What an evening. I gather you spent quite a lot of time in Beefland, is that right?
I think so. I think it was from the first time Sonny, the amazing show creator, shout out. Feel very lucky to be involved in this show. Sonny and I got acquainted in the middle of 2024, and he was working on the second season. It was a complete sort of departure from the first season, and I remember just thinking, wow, that's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see that show. And then when I got sort of approached about, trying to make something and get involved, I was like, oh, that would be amazing. And I started talking to him about the world of the show and where it took place in this country club and the characters' relationship with each other and crafting sounds. And so then it started, and they shot for the first several months of 2025. And then here we are in the, middle of spring in 2026. So yes, you're right.
And he said your music over the last decade has sort of informed the way he works.
Wow.
He's told you that, he clearly wanted to work with you. What was he saying to you? What was the sort of approach that he said he wanted you to take?
I mean, I think that it was the song choices were so clear, and we were talking about these characters sort of, to me, the kind of thing that I really wanted to convey was this sort of like idea of like your place in the world and the world's perception of you and your relationship with the people around you and your love life, and the kind of grappling with your own insecurities of like, am I not the sort of protagonist of this story? Am I this adversarial relationship that the characters have with each other? A lot of the sort of songs that are included in the season are things that were like very important to me personally in the 2010s that Sonny had picked out, that I was like, wow, these are like how to play our way into and out of these great songs by artists like...
So he gave you the songs that we're going to play out each episode. There's a lot of LCD, a lot of Hot Chip, M83, and then particularly in episode 2, it's Heads Will Roll by the
Yes. That's an amazing song that I was like, oh, this is going to be, I wanted to really do that song justice when it came in.
Yeah, because then you're creating the theme for the rest of it, right?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it felt like it had to sort of hearken to whatever that foreboding energy that amazing song, sort of puts in me. I was like, I want to really have it feel that way for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking you read a couple of the scripts and then pretty quickly wrote Vicious Thoughts, which we heard a little bit of, starts with this beautiful piano and then it gets pretty violent. There's almost a sort of violent synth sound.
Yeah, I mean, I just started writing things that felt like they would reflect what I felt the characters were going through while I was reading the scripts and visiting set and, seeing these amazing performances from Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, and Charles Melton, Kaylee Spaney. And Vicious Thoughts, which is the final portion of the music that we played, was just this melody that it felt like this very sort of pure, optimistic, slightly sentimental thing, hopefully, and then I just wanted it to just become this cacophonous, sort of violent sound with the same melody that you'd been introduced to. And so I sent that over to Sonny while they were shooting the first several episodes, and Sonny was like, I know where this is going to go. Which, by the way, I just want to say, I apologize if anybody in the room has not seen all of the season yet for spoiling any of the season. I feel guilty for that, but just wanted to include the amazing footage.
Absolutely. You mentioned Oscar Isaac. Part of the plot of the show is him playing this Moog synth, but he's clearly not very good. How do you approach that?
It was a real gift from the script, because the script had this man cave that Josh's character is in, full of sort of maybe like slightly regretful purchases, sports paraphernalia, and a very expensive vintage synthesizer. And so there were sort of moments of Josh's character lost in the that he was playing. So we started writing that, and then it was like, oh, he's going to play this piece of music in episode 2. Write something for him to be playing, and I was like writing something, and then I was like, wait a minute, like let me pretend to like have never touched the synthesizer. It was a really fun challenge. And then of course Oscar Isaac, who's like good at everything. Like you've seen Inside Llewyn Davis or something. Like Oscar probably could have played a much better synth part than I gave him, but I thought his character Josh should suck at playing the Mo.
Yeah, you and Oscar can play. Josh, however, can't.
Yeah, Oscar's a very talented person.
Yeah. Talking of synths, I loved a quote that you found a synth that sounded like a swarm of bees.
That is true. I mean, I thought like, the times like I live in LA near like a golf course, and I like you walk by and you hear all of this kind of rhythm in nature. You hear like the sprinkler system going like and I wanted that sort of to be part of the sort of stressful tempo of the show. And then, found these sort of synth patches that if I turned the envelopes and changed the cutoffs, and then I took the like little pitch bend thing on the Nord and wobbled it, it really sounded like bees. And it just really stressed me out to play. And I was like, well, if it stresses me out, it'll probably stress everybody out. So
it does. You mentioned there's a sort of theme of nostalgia about these different generations. Is that what you were working with?
Well, I think that, I was literally talking to somebody here in the preamble, and they name dropped somebody, and I said to them like, oh, is that Jeff's brother? I grew up singing in a choir with Jeff's son. And the person went, wow, I'm really dating, that makes me feel old. And I think that there's so much of that in the world is like we experience things so profoundly at first. The first time you see a film or hear an album, especially if it's a new album that just came out, and then years later it takes you back to where you were when you first heard that record. And then somebody's like, it's the 25th anniversary of this album. And you think like, oh my God. And you're like, that's the 25th anniversary of me being 15. So I think that element of these characters sort of thinking about their past and their future, and your past is written and your future's uncertain, and kind of trying to be like, is there anything I can learn from this? And that's really, to me, that's the sort of profound quality of the end of this season, is this kind of like cycle of your life in the world.
Yeah, and music plays such a big part in that, doesn't it? Absolutely. You made your TV composing debut, I understand, with Disclaimer, and now Beef. Is this a world you enjoy? Is this a world you like to play in?
I mean, it's certainly a world that I'm an enthusiastic audience member of. I just am such a fan of film and television. I mean, like, subconsciously as a little kid, but then as I got older, I remember like being like 15 and my friend and I learning the House of Cards theme on piano and playing that little dee-doo-doo-dee-doo-dee. And so I think that anything that I'm a real, true, deep fan of, if I get an opportunity to participate, I just feel very honored. So that's how I feel.
Well, I hope you get plenty more opportunities. Please give it up for Finneas
Cheers,
O'Connell.
guys. Thanks for having me.